investment research. John's particular area of expertise is biotechnology. Look, you can't watch daytime television without seeing a dozen different commercials for a dozen different therapies, treatments, you know.
Sure. Direct-to-consumer advertising.
Yeah,
it's out there.
I'm always amazed, though, that at the end of those commercials, they always say, some side effects are, and you're listening to it and you're going, oh my God.
Sounds worse than the actual...
yeah, the cure is worse than what I got. But
Yeah.
that being aside, so we're at the Money Show. People are here for investing. And so look, you can invest in these companies that are working on these therapies.
Yeah.
So this is your bailiwick. This is your area of expertise. Tell them who's the biotech companies that are interesting to look at that should be on your radar screen.
Yeah. So one I really like right now, and they just finished their phase 2, their phase 2B trial, and they're ready to go into a phase 3 by the end of the year. They're actually working on a smoking cessation product called cytisinicline. Right, it's actually been around for a very long time, and actually a little side note is Chantix, which is the one we've probably seen the ads about. You were just talking about that.
Yeah, all the time.
Chantix was actually based upon the molecular structure of cytisinicline.
So what, they just got to market?
Yeah,
first?
they didn't want to share with the company that made it. You know, Pfizer's kind of, you know, they kind of like that.
Protective in that way.
Yeah, well, they also, you know, it's a plant-based molecule, so you can't patent it. And because they wanted to have something that was patentable for 20 years and have that intellectual property protection, they created something similar, which is Chantix. So the problem is that the Chantix has a few issues with it. You know, there's a high attrition rate because there's a lot of side effects. People feel kind of sick and nauseous. They have strange dreams is another very common
So they say
issue.
to themselves, I quit smoking for this?
Yeah. And it's hard for them to even make it through the therapy. And I'll just, let me cite a quick stat here. Only about 7% of people who want to quit smoking actually do. And part of that reason is because there's a high attrition rate for people taking the drug because of the side effects.
So they're that bad. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't tried it myself, but I mean, I get a pretty consistent feedback from people that tell me that.
Okay.
So the thing with cytisinicline is that it still has these side effects, but they're much in phase 2 data. They're at a much lower rate than they've been measured in for Chantix.
So they're more palatable then?
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a higher number of people finishing the therapy, you can raise that 7% to something perhaps, you know, maybe twice as high.
Well, that'd be a good thing.
That would be.
That'd be a great thing.
So we'd have more quitters out there.
So what are some companies, though, that are trading on the exchanges that are doing things that are interesting that, you know, investors might want to have, you know, to think about?
Sure. Well, I mean, there's another company that I really like out there. It's a turnaround story called Vivus. They actually are, they sponsored this drug called Qsymia for weight loss.
Okay.
There's about 5 weight loss drugs out there, and this one is the best balance of efficacy with safety.
So it works.
It works,
and it
the
doesn't
side
make
effects,
you feel bad.
Yeah, the side effects aren't as severe as some of the other ones, and a lot of times it works very well in conjunction with surgery for stomach constriction surgery. They're working on a program which is actually quite interesting. Vivus is the company, VVUS, where they're going direct to the consumer instead of going through a pharmacy. There's all this middlemen in there, which raise the cost of the product. And since this is a weight loss drug, it doesn't get as much support from the payers, from the insurance companies that others might. So they've had to deal with this cost issue. But the company is changed the way they get to consumers by going direct. So actually their profit per unit is about the same, even though the price to consumers went from like almost $200 to about $90.
Oh, that's big. That's huge.
So it's huge.
So that makes it more available then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People just aren't. They did some studies and they found that people over $100 a month for weight loss drugs, they're just not willing to pay more than that. So they did the consumer price sensitivity, and they found that was the point, and they brought it down to that level, and they're starting to see some really good results.
Well, weight loss is psychologically tough anyway. I mean, it's just it's tough.
And the drug really helps. I mean, the data is very supportive of its efficacy, and it's been approved for many years. It's just kind of languished because of that pricing issue.
So any of the big companies that investors are probably more familiar with, like Novartis, Pfizer, AbbVie, Abbott Labs. I mean, are any of these guys doing anything in your area that are interesting? Or?
I focus on the smaller guys, but
Right.
I think that is a good reason to focus on the bigger guys because I find a lot of value in my companies, in my space. A lot of them are trading at below $50 million right now, but
Wow,
they have
that's small,
potentially
yeah.
billion-dollar products if they're successful.
So this is a change, because you and I have talked about this before. Back in the day, you used to have these monster R&D budgets.
Sure, yeah.
And they were throwing boom, boom,
Yep,
boom, boom, boom,
yep.
boom, boom, boom. And then I think it was maybe Bristol Myers years and years ago said, you know what? There's all these little incubator companies out there.
Let them take the risk.
They're already pretty far down the road. This looks like it's going to be, let's just go buy the company.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's one of the changes in the industry, which I don't know. Are they still doing it?
I think so, and I think there's just been a lot of hesitancy so far this year in the space because I see a lot of companies that are really undervalued relative to their potential.
Yeah.
Like I said, under $50 million is the market cap for some of these companies, which have potentially billion-dollar products if they're successful. Again, they're not approved yet, but they're on their way and they look good so far.
But we've got an election in what?
Yeah,
13,
like a year or
14
something.
months,
Yeah.
and pharma always is the redheaded stepchild that gets beat up
There's always concern about
on both sides of the
pricing.
aisle.
Yeah.
So this is it's always tough. It's a tough road to hoe. So
Yeah.
All right. So here's what we're going to do, John. You tell them where to find your research.
All right. Well, to find out about Vivus or Achieve Life Sciences or any of our other companies that we recommend, go to scr.zacks.com.
All righty. This is Kelly Wright at the Money Show. Thank you so much for joining us.